Hi, and welcome to my family kitchen. My name is Jennifer Perini Nevins. I'm a second-generation Italian-American, and I've been cooking for my family and friends for years. Today we're going to make homemade mozzarella. Homemade mozzarella starts with mozzarella curd. This is something that you can purchase from an Italian specialty shop. You probably have to ask behind the counter for the curd. It's not usually out in the front. And this is 2 pounds of curd. What we're going to do is we're going to slice this thin, and we're going to put the sliced curd in a large bowl. Meanwhile, while I'm slicing this, I'm actually heating on the stove a large pot that contains 4 cups of whole milk, 4 cups of water, and 3 tablespoons of kosher salt. That's actually going to come up to a very high heat, just under a boil. So now we're going to start cutting this curd. And I'll show you. You actually cut it into very small pieces because ultimately you're going to add the hot mixture to this, and you want to be able to cook the curd through, stretch and pull this so that it forms a soft, delicious mozzarella. Okay, I've now cut up all of the mozzarella curd. It's in this bowl. And now I'm going to pour in half of my heated liquid mixture into this bowl. And what will happen at this point is we are going to start to soften the curd. So you want to pour it, hopefully it'll cover just about to the top. So at this point the heated mixture is softening the curd, and we're going to start working this curd to not only soften it up, but to change the texture. We do want to cook the curd through. And you'll see as we start working this, it's going to start forming one big ball, more or less. And this will probably take a few minutes. And again, this is really going to just soften the curd, and it will allow us to utilize the rest of the heated mixture to actually form our mozzarella. So I've been mixing this up for a few minutes, and at this point I'm going to drain this first liquid mixture because the liquids actually cool down substantially, and what we want to do is add the balance of the heated mixture so that we can actually form the mozzarella. And one thing I will tell you is to make sure that the curd is at room temperature prior to cutting it up, because if the curd is cold it will really cool down your mixture just too quickly, and you won't be able to really soften the curd as much as you would like. Okay, so now I'm going to just drain this mixture, and we'll get ready to add the rest of the heated liquid. Okay, so now we're ready to add the rest of the heated mixture to the curd. So I'm going to turn the heat off of this mixture, give it a last stir. And I'm going to pour this into the softened curd. And you can see it's a very, very hot temperature, and it was just under boiling. So we're now going to continue to work this mozzarella, and it will begin to soften up again because this liquid is very, very hot. And you have to work it a little bit slowly so that you don't make an absolute mess out of it. But you want to stretch it. And now that it's starting to warm up, it's starting to be much more pliable. And ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to start to see a very soft sheen happen with the mozzarella curd. And that's when you know you can actually start forming the balls. And this takes a few minutes. Okay, so I'm still working this mozzarella, and it's starting to get very pliable and soft. And what I'm going to do in just a minute is I'm going to go in and work it with my hands. And I have gloves on not only for health reasons, but also because this mixture is very, very hot. Okay, so I'm actually just continuing to work the mozzarella until it's soft and silky, and I'm going to form a mozzarella ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in this water bath that I have in this bowl next to me that's already been salted, and it's going to actually infuse a beautiful salted flavor into this mozzarella. And as you can see, you can actually form these into any size ball that you want. I'm making this into a rather small ball that fits into the palm of my hand. You can certainly, at Italian specialty shops, buy 1-pound mozzarella balls. I really like them a little bit smaller. And I've made this for dinner parties where I've made them smaller, like bocconcini size, and I've made it with fresh tomatoes and a pesto sauce. It's really delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this mozzarella into this water bath, and we're going to let this sit here for about 15 minutes or so. And this is really going to let it set, and it's going to let it cool down a little bit. You can absolutely serve this mozzarella fresh after about 15 minutes on a plate. The only thing I will tell you is that it will flatten out a little bit, but the taste is absolutely delicious. What you can also do to store this mozzarella is wrap it in a plastic wrap. But what I will tell you is you must wrap it very tightly because you want to be able to retain the beautiful round ball-sized form. And I actually wrapped it very tightly, and I actually wrapped it and put the plastic wrap underneath it so that it was really tight because, again, this will really flatten out. You can certainly store this in a plastic container with some of the salted water, and it'll stay in the refrigerator for a couple of days. It'll be beautiful. One thing that I do want to show you is that I make a beautiful mozzarella rollatini with this fresh mozzarella. So I'm going to show you how I put this together. So now we're ready to make the mozzarella rollatini. So I've taken some fresh mozzarella right out of the warm milk, and I'm going to try to roll this out in the shape of a rectangle. And it should actually be relatively pliable. It's still warm. It's still silky. And you can see it's still full of milk. Now, of course, this can be as large as you want it to be. I took a relatively small size piece of mozzarella to get started with. So this is about as large as my rollatini will be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this with some beautiful baby arugula. And of course, arugula has a delicious peppery flavor to it. Then I'm going to layer it with some homemade roasted peppers. And of course, you can change these toppings to be anything that you like. There are no rules in cooking, and absolutely you should be enjoying this, and it should be part of a creative process. Okay. So those are the roasted peppers. I'm going to top this with smoked prosciutto, which they call speck, and this is really, really delicious, and it goes beautifully with this mozzarella. You can really smell the smokiness of this prosciutto. Okay. I'm going to top this with some freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. And then drizzle a little extra virgin olive oil. Okay. Now we're going to actually roll this up jelly roll style. And the mozzarella is so pliable and so easy to work with when it's warm. Okay. So this is the mozzarella rollatini. Now what I did last night is I made this, I wrapped it up in plastic wrap, and I put it in the refrigerator just so that the whole mozzarella and the fillings would really set and meld nicely together. And what I did, and I'm going to show you how I serve this, is I placed the mozzarella rollatini on top of a bed of baby arugula, and I like to serve this with a lemon vinaigrette. A lemon vinaigrette with a little bit of olive oil drizzled over the top. And a little bit of shaved Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. And this is a delicious meal. It's delicious on an appetizer buffet. You will truly love this. It's a wonderful creative use for the fresh mozzarella. And I like to serve this with a wonderful Chianti wine. This goes beautifully with the boldness of a Chianti, and it tastes spectacular together. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today in my family kitchen. Until next time, buon appetito. Enjoy.